I'm 23 years old and I'm in $300,000 of debt.
Goodness gracious.
And no, I don't plan to pay it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something that is quite concerning to me. I've been noticing that there are a growing number of Gen Zers and millennials who have just decided they're not going to pay their debt back. Now, obviously, you don't have to be a mathematician to understand that this is an extremely concerning mindset that's being spread across the internet. And it's something that I'm making a video about because I see a lot of young people resonating with a few videos that are going extremely viral about people declaring that they're not going to pay their debt back. So let's take a look. This first video is probably the most extreme example that I have seen so far, and it is quite something.
Hi, my name is Meredith St. John, and I'm not paying my debt anymore because all of it is literally made up. The United States government doesn't pay their debt either. Those millionaires in the wealthy class, hey, they don't pay their debt either. They don't even pay their fines. They file bankruptcy, okay? And if you're afraid to do it, that's fine. I'll do it on my own. I'll document everything, and I'll show you how easy it is to get around this.
Oh no.
I am so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of watching people suffer. I'm sick and tired of us not knowing what to do. I'm sick and tired of the Democrats going and sitting on their hands in Congress and the House of Representatives. I'm doing something, and it might be delusional. It might amount to nothing. I don't care, dude. I literally don't care. All of us should be crashing out more. This is one thing I know that I can do right now that's actually gonna matter. We need to come for their wallets. We can never organize enough to boycott something. None of us have the discipline to strike and to boycott. And we have FOMO, so how about we keep our money? How about that? How about a revolution where we rest? How about a revolution where we do less? Every single time we have to revolt against the government and stand up for our rights, we have to work even harder than we already are. And it's impossible right now because they've literally pushed us to the limit. We're working way too much. What we have to do is take our money back. We have to take our time back. We have to take our rest back. This is ridiculous. So anyway, that's what I'll be doing.
Shout out to Meredith St. John. If her goal was to get a following from this, she succeeded, because when I tell you the comments, for the most part, in agreement with her, it is pretty astounding. I mean, some of these are crazy. All of us should be crashing out more. That part. Or let's all stop paying taxes. Please, it has to be a mass movement, though. I'm not entirely against tax reform, obviously, because most of the money that is spent by our government is wasted. But some of the things that I found interesting is this: when we file bankruptcy, and in another 7 years, we will do it again. This is clearly an extreme example of people being angry about debt, about money. And obviously here we're all about taking personal responsibility with our money. We're about making common sense decisions with our money. Really the only area that I can have empathy and sympathy for is just the fact that the cost of living has increased so much. And so if you're not increasing your income, in some cases, if you don't have a strict budget, and if you're not actively looking to cut expenses, you're going to get into debt. It's just going to happen. I've seen it so often. It's happened to me in the past. And you have to make adjustments within your budget. And if you don't have a budget to go by, you're going to get into debt. It's just, unfortunately, the climate that we're in economically. And so I can completely understand the emotions that she feels, the anger that she feels, and that most of the people in the comment section feel as well. However, this is a misguided place to put your passion about reform when it comes to money. Taking your money back should not manifest in a way of not paying any money back to people that you owe money to, because ultimately you made the decision to go into debt. Everyone that's in debt made a decision to go into debt. And young people are crafting this narrative that they were forced into debt, whether it's student loans, whether it's credit card debt, whether it's a car payment. And again, I can empathize in some cases, completely can empathize. School, or when it comes to college, a lot of the times our parents kind of forced us into college. And, you know, as an 18-year-old, your brain's not fully developed. I can empathize with that. When it comes to credit cards, you know, if you're not taught about credit cards, about interest rates and things like that, and you just, you know, are put into a situation where you have to survive and you don't have a job, it's like, okay, I can kind of agree to some extent. However, there has to be a sense of personal responsibility and ownership. And unfortunately, this movement of individuals, specifically young people, not wanting to pay their debt back, it lacks that. It lacks ownership and personal responsibility. There's more videos here that we're going to get into. This next one is quite interesting. Another young lady, and her demeanor is completely different, but basically the same story.
I'm 23 years old and I'm in $300,000 of debt.
Goodness gracious.
And no, I don't plan to pay it. It used to really bother me, but I'm done letting it bother me. And before anybody says I'm lazy or to get a job, I have a job. I work 40 hours a week. Not to mention I work in healthcare, so I'm also saving lives. If a debt collector calls me, they're getting blocked. Because seriously, why would you give that much money to a 23-year-old? It's not my fault.
Oh, I don't know.
I am literally just a girl. I'm making this video to help other people in debt feel less alone. It can be really depressing and it can really ruin your life, but it doesn't have to. Money isn't real and it never has been. I don't believe I should pay it back because, well, look at the state of the world right now. If you're in a similar situation, I want you to know that you're not alone. And just because you're in debt doesn't mean your life has to stop. The debt is all in your mind. That's what I'm telling myself, at least. Bye.
So her demeanor is very calm. She's eating as she's saying this. The comments in this video, though, are almost the exact opposite. Almost the exact opposite. First one is, it's not my fault, in quotations. I'm just a girl, in quotations. Gross. The next comment is, I think, a very, very important one. I'm just a girl. Stop equating women to not being responsible. These are things we have to seriously consider when we say tropes like that. The next one is, yeah, they're about to garnish those wages. The point of this channel is to encourage people to not get into situations like this. And if you're in the situation similar to this, to help you get out. And so I'm not going to bag on this girl. I'm not going to say anything negative about her. I'm just going to assume the best. I'm going to assume that she did not have the best financial upbringing. The fact that she does have a job in healthcare is great. There is a high scalability when it comes to her income to be able to eventually pay off these loans or whatever debt. She didn't mention what kind of debt it was. If she is in healthcare, I'm going to guess a lot of that is student loans. But with her mindset, I also guess that some of it can be credit card debt. There has to be a teaching of responsibility and ownership when it comes to young people and money, because with everything we're seeing when it comes to the economy as a whole, when it comes to the consumer, I am not someone that is a pessimist, but a realist. And I can see that when young people are posting videos like this, the cracks are there in the economy. The writing is on the wall. The consumer is much weaker than what we're being led to believe. And ultimately, I hope that when you see this, you can be encouraged to not follow what these people are doing, because unlike this girl, the last girl, she had many people in agreement with her that they were just going to stop paying off their debt. And that leads to nowhere except poverty, truly. And I do not want that for you. I want you to be someone that can build your resources, steward your wealth well, so that you can be able to bless other people. That's the whole point, honestly, of accumulating any type of resources, is not to keep it for ourselves, but to be able to bless other people. And if these individuals continue on the path that they're on, it's just not going to happen. This next video is about student loans in particular, and an interesting loophole that people are utilizing when it comes to student loans.
So for some reason, many people are saying they're never paying off their student loans, and here's why. Oh, and by the way, this is not an illegal thing that they're doing. This is totally legal, just a tax-savvy strategy to have them not pay their student loans. What people are doing is once they graduate, they keep their enrollment open, doing 6 credits per year, keeping their deferment options available for student loan payments. Here's where it gets interesting. Because they're technically a student still, they can go and defer their payments, not make student loan payments, spend about $2,000 a year in classes, but receive back $1,000 in a lifetime learning credit, bringing their total to $1,000 per year to freeze their student loan payments. The reason why this is going viral online is not only does it help people freeze their student loans, but it also is helping them level up their skills and get more advanced degrees. But let me know, is this a good idea or completely shady? I'm going to make a follow-up video tomorrow going deeper into this, but for more news that makes you money, go over and give me a follow.
So that was from Gavin Leonard. Appreciate the video, brother. However, this strategy, I've seen a couple of videos about this strategy in terms of people basically staying enrolled in the school in perpetuity to defer payments. Again, this is a flawed strategy. Deferring payments only means that you don't have to owe anything. However, the loans themselves are still accumulating interest. So you're just going to have to owe more in the end. This comment here actually speaks right into that. I have known this for years. The smart thing is to go and pay it off on your terms while on deferment. And so no matter what strategy people have, whether it's legal, it doesn't matter, you have to pay them back. And student loans are even more tricky because you cannot declare bankruptcy on them. And so it's not like people would advocate for credit cards or any type of other consumer debt where you can just declare bankruptcy and make the debt disappear. This is much more serious, student loans. And I would highly, highly advise you to not do this. Just go get your degree and let that be it. Or in some cases, skip the degree altogether because it's becoming more and more clear that it's not necessary to get good jobs. And so it's really just at this point a change in mindset, I think, that we need to adopt as young people. And I hope that if you are a young person and you do have debt and you see this, you feel inspired to turn away from what the culture is pushing, which is pushing no responsibility, no ownership, and blaming the government. There's one thing that I believe, and that's no matter what's going on in Congress or the White House, I have much more authority over my own house. I have much more agency than I'm going to be led to believe by the government or the mainstream media, whatever the case is. I'm responsible for what goes on in my house, for what goes into my bank, what goes out of my bank. That is the truth, and you are too. And what I do want to advocate for is just really trying to stick to a budget. Many people right now are worrisome of a recession, and I think there is legitimate concern for that when it comes to the housing market, when it comes to car payments, and now people not paying off debt. That is essentially what caused the 2008 financial crisis, people not being able to pay their mortgage payments. Or the next crisis is not going to happen, in my opinion, within the housing sector. It's going to come from consumer debt and not being able to pay off credit cards, buy now, pay later services, car payments. All these things are bubbling up. And so my suggestion to you, if you have any type of debt currently, is to get on a written plan and know how much you need to survive in terms of your monthly expenses. Anything that comes in that's additional to that goes to debt, and a small percentage goes to savings. This is how you're going to prepare yourself. This is how you prepare yourself even if we're in a normal environment, because you could always get laid off. You could always lose your job. There's circumstances that can happen that puts you into a terrible position, and I don't want that for you. I want you to be placed in the best position possible. And it really just comes to being disciplined, pushing off the instant gratification and focusing on how you can prepare your future. And even if you don't have a family, even if you're single, you need to start thinking about that because you do have responsibilities as you grow up. People are entering into adulthood not knowing how to be adults, and that is scary. I really do feel for those people. And so I hope this is helpful. I hope it inspires you to really stay away from these trends of not paying off debt and instead to attack the debt. As always, I appreciate you watching the video. If you agreed or disagreed with what I said, please leave a comment below. And perhaps if it's an interesting comment, I will feature it in the next video because I want to get you more involved in the making of these videos. If you have anything that you want me to talk about, please also leave that in the comments below. But yes, I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.